So, you're wanting to build an awesome custom tree in your Minecraft world, but you just don't know how? Well, I can help with that. Before I start with any build, I start with a palette. I believe setting up a palette before you start building something as detailed as a tree is a very easy and helpful way of being organized instead of being overwhelmed before you start a build. If you don't know who I am, hi, I'm Fly. This is a series, Dream Designs, of where we both learn how to build together. This is actually one of my first magical trees. I did one in my previous episode, and everyone really liked it and suggested that I make a more in-depth tutorial of how I build some of these trees. So I hope this helps. It's not a direct tutorial, but I do hope it inspires a lot of people to build something like this inside their worlds. If you see here, I do have 3 different palettes because we are going to be building 3 different trees in 3 separate videos. I went to build a red evil looking tree, a yellow light magical tree, and a natural earthy tone blue tree. Okay, let's get started with the blue tree because I think that would be an easy, even ground to begin off of. I'm gonna go over here, right in this area. Also, ignore that behind me. That was a botched video. I did try this video a couple days ago. That recording did not go so well, that I didn't like. But if you guys are really interested in seeing what's behind me and how I built that, it's supposed to be a tree, but outside sources say it doesn't look like a tree. So I'm gonna start this video over. I don't really care about taking that down right now, so I'm just gonna re-record. But if you are interested in seeing that, just let me know. I will release that video. So with the blue tree, I do want to use a gray palette, and using the gray palette, we could have different options, especially with greenery options, especially with the blue. I do want to use the mossy cobblestone and mossy stone bricks because implementing those could be really interesting, especially with the texture that I want to use. Because this one is kind of a blue tree. It's magical, but this could be the tree that is like the essence of the earth. I think that could be interesting. So what we're gonna do is start with a 2x2, and then we're gonna just kind of pile that up as a tower just for a little bit. And then I'm going to start carving out certain parts of it, maybe building some back up. I'm just trying to work out a specific shape where I am always going to begin shaping parts off. Never going to forget that, because shaping parts off is the fundamental first step of building. So on the bottom, I'm going to slowly put in some mossy cobble. This is gonna signify where the earth is starting to take part in the tree. It's kind of coming out of the earth. I am gonna pile this up, but instead of a cobblestone, we're gonna use some stone to signify that I want that to be my end result. So it's gonna come right up there. And then I'm gonna have some regular stone bricks in the middle. Now we will be texturizing this a little bit furthermore. I just want to work on the bottom for now. Okay, to make this trunk a little more thicker at the bottom, I will be putting, just kind of piling up more areas of the cobblestone on the bottom. And also I will start to use some stairs and slabs here. I kind of just put them in random spots and places where I think it needs a little more curve to it, especially the top areas right here. So say I kind of want a cobblestone slab right there to make sure it's more smooth. And then like a stair could benefit there. And I will be going randomly between stairs, mossy cobble stairs and regular stairs. And then I'm going to variate some textures such as this, put some more cobblestone instead of mossy cobblestone. But I do want more mossy cobblestone on the bottom, and then slowly transitioning to a layer of regular cobblestone. Now we're going to have some veins of slabs. So just kind of randomly put lines, squiggly lines of slabs from the bottom going out. And these lines can be very short, very different in lengths too. You could have a very extra long one like this, And these are the roots. The roots are very randomized, so it doesn't really matter. You can also kind of go into the ground, place them in the ground. They can go lower into the ground as far as you want. I did put some moss around it too in the ground, but when we're finished, we're gonna be putting some blue leaves on the ground too that have fallen, so I'm not gonna pay too much attention to the ground yet. And then I'm gonna variate these slabs with regular cobblestone slabs, not just mossy cobblestone. Now we got the basic base, the basic base. Yes, that's an easy way to describe it. I'm gonna start piling up into towering up into the sky. So I'm gonna start using the regular stone bricks and the mossy stone bricks. Sorry if I get these kind of confused. There is a lot happening in this stem here, and I might get the names confused, so I apologize. So I'm just gonna variate just exactly what I did on the bottom. Do a couple mossy stone bricks on the bottom, and then start piling up with regular stone bricks on the top. Now I am gonna shift the trunk over to kind of lean out like this way. How I'm gonna do that is place a stair on the uppermost part, and maybe a slab to the side. Maybe not a mossy slab. There we go. And then a couple more solid blocks, and then kind of just shift the shape of it over. I don't want this to be too tall. I'd say that tall is pretty good. But now you can see the tree trunk is bending over this way. We do want to change the top of it to stone. I did want it to transition into stone at the top of the stem. So we're just gonna kind of randomize the stone a bit, delete the extra stone bricks at the top, replace it with regular stone. And I am gonna go back down here, start placing some other mossy stone bricks, making sure, I can even have like a hole right there with a stair. We can even use like a stone slab right there and a stone stair, making sure that this is smoothed out as much as we want. And then putting maybe a mossy stone right there, mossy stone slab. There's so many names to these blocks, I'm losing track. And then I'll put possibly some mossy stairs right there instead of slab. Yeah, that's good. I do think there should be a stair maybe there's a slab there. A stair right there would benefit. And then maybe another stair. Oh, I made that a corner stair. That's actually really good. Let's put stone bricks again. I like that. And this takes some time to figure out how to structure. Like, obviously you're not gonna get this shape first try. It takes a lot of time and patience to build something like this. Just keep on messing with it until you're happy with a specific shape that you like. I think I'm close to being done. Up here kind of needs some work. We can put some right there. Maybe change some more shapes out like this. Something like that. I kind of like that. It's very messy, but it does look kind of like a ruined sort of thing. I think I might implement some walls into it even, such as this. Try and make like a branch right there. And then maybe one, I think one might work right there. That could work. And then, I like that. That's good. That for a stem, like a root, what's the trunk? That for a trunk. Honestly, I kind of like that. That's pretty good. Let's move on to the branches. Now, for the branches, since it's all the way on the top, I think I'm gonna mainly just stick with the regular. I'm gonna start over my inventory there. The branches, I'm gonna mainly use stone bricks and not the mossy stuff, because that stuff is for the bottom where the earth is kind of eating up away on the trunk, but on the top it's kind of newer and smoother with the textures. So we're gonna do a main center block here, and we're just gonna have a bunch of branches stemming out from it. Now you can have this block actually be a bit more thicker. So let's say I have some upside down stairs off to the sides of it, and then we start to make more of a platform on the top of it. And this platform is probably going to end up being a little bit more slabs, such as this. Variate the slabs and where they go. I don't really like the back here, so I might try messing with it a little bit more. Okay, so stems and not stems. I just did the stem. What is this? What am I? Blah, blah. Oh my gosh. What am I about to make? I'm about to make the branches. What I like to do for branches is start with either a stair or a slab off to the edge of where the trunk ends on the top, and then kind of just go in a line and pile up, and then go back down. And that is a branch right there. Now you can go as short or as long as you want. I'm gonna probably variate in different sizes. So yeah, you could do upside down stairs such as that, and then have kind of an oblong shape. And doing this multiple times will make different branches. Now I'll make one on this side to show you guys again. I'll do a little bit taller of a branch and one that goes further down. Maybe not that long. We'll start over with this. Put a slab right there to support it. And then going down after a little bit. There we go. Now I'm going to show you how to do a diagonal branch. They're kind of self-explanatory. Just go diagonal with the blocks. I usually kind of just spam some slabs. It really doesn't matter. These branches are not going to be seen unless you're trying to make a dead tree, and that's pretty okay. I literally just spanned diagonal slabs to make that shape. I'll do it again. You could put this video in short slow-mo so you can see how I'm doing it. This one I do want a little smaller of a branch, so I'm gonna go something like that. That works. I like how these branches are turning out. Obviously these branches are kind of singular, and branches sometimes spam off of one another like this, so you do want to make multiple branches on one branch. Oh my gosh, someone put a branch counter on. I want to know how many times I've said branch in the last like 5 minutes. Of course, multiple branches come off of one branch most of the time, so you do kind of want to, you know, make branches off of multiple other branches, small, and then they always get smaller. And to be fair, these are just the bottommost branches. They even go up like a layer, such as this. I did a stair, and then they're gonna go in layers. So this one's taller than the other branches. I would like to highlight that I understand these are complicated shapes, and they're very hard to do when you're doing this first time. This is like my second tree, and I did this for about an hour or so. It was very hard. Some key notes that I took away from was to think chaotically. Do not think linearly. Do not make straight lines unless you're shaping things out, and that's how it helps you build and shape out. But think unlinearly. Think like scribbly lines, as much chaotic as you can. Think jagged lines, think I'm gonna build as I'm flying in this direction. That's how I kind of did it. It's perfectly okay if you take your time on this. Like, I don't think any of your builds are timed, so I really wouldn't worry about it. Also, if you're not building a dead tree, you can overlook this step completely. Like, most of the leaves are going to be covering up this part almost completely. So I really wouldn't focus on this part too much. If you want to skip the tall branches like I'm putting here, I really wouldn't take that out of consideration, because this is hard, a lot of effort, and a lot more effort than you do for the leaves, at least what I think. If you're doing a dead tree, I really hope I have brought in some good tips and that this is helpful in some way. Here is what my dead unleaved tree looks like. I think it looks pretty good. The branches are very branchy. I honestly don't really have a strategy to do branches. I literally just block spam. I'm not even joking. I just start here, and then I just start block spamming in the direction that I want. See, that's even a better, that's a pretty good branch. And then I just go back, maybe add some stairs to it, maybe add some more volume to it. So just this, put a stair right there to end it off. Boom, another branch right there. Like, just block spamming, not really thinking about it, really helps. There is a particular gradient that I am doing for the leaves because I think the gradient would be super pretty. Dark prismarine, warped planks, cyan concrete, cyan wool, stripped warped hyphae, and prismarine bricks. And if you go at a distance, it's a darker blue to a lighter blue. Well, that's kind of almost green. But like a darker green to a light blue, and I really like that. And then I want to implement some glass over it, because that's what I did for the Mystical River amethyst tree. I put a layer of glass over everything that I did. It might look okay, it might not. We're gonna see how it goes. There's our layer of glass that we'll use. We'll use all the blue stained glasses. Okay, now here is the fun part. Basically, I like to call it a block spam. That's literally what we're gonna do. We're just gonna go over here, and at the bottommost layer, since this is a texture that I want to go up, it's gonna go from dark at the bottom of the leaves to light at the top of the tree. So I'm gonna start with the dark prismarine at the bottommost regions of the branches and block spam. One layer over the branches at least, and it should look okay. Now, it's okay to have a couple empty spots over the branches. You don't want them completely full, and I leave the bottom of the branches completely untouched because I don't know. I don't really think the bottom of the branches would be touched. In this area, I'm actually going to start transitioning into warped wood right here, because it's a little taller than the prismarine. And like right here, this is way taller than where I want the prismarine to be. It's like midway through the tree, so I'm just gonna change this stuff into warped wood instead. Like right here, leave the bottom of the prismarine alone, and then maybe on the mid layer we can have a couple warped wood and a couple prismarine, such as this prismarine needs to be down here, but we can transition into warped wood. This part isn't as easy to mess up as, say, the branches, because you basically just make blobs all around the branches. That's as easy as I can describe it. It's actually really hard to describe what I'm doing here. In easy sense, I am placing a block of whatever color I want, which is the darkest color at the bottom of the branches, because I want to start with the darkest color and then move on up to the lighter color. So I use warped wood above the dark prismarine because it's a lighter color than the dark prismarine. Basically, I just put a block over every layer not every layer, every block of see, it's hard to describe. A block over every block of the branch. I only did 1 block because I will be having 1 block layer of glass over everything, so I didn't make it that thick. But if you aren't doing glass later in the building process, then you can do as many layers as you want over the branches. Make your tree a very puffy, big ol' tree full of leaves, or you don't have to have that many leaves at all. Maybe make it a dying looking tree and have some of the branches popping out. This part is fully on preference. How I'm doing it here is covering all the branches except for the underside of them. Okay, now it's starting to take its shape. We've gotten most of the dark prismarine and the warped bottom half of the tree done. You can start seeing that there are leaves. The leaves do look like they're becoming a tree. So now I'm gonna move on to maybe warped, to the cyan concrete, transitioning that gradient up to the top of the tree all the way to prismarine bricks, and literally I just keep reminded I am just block spamming. So I want to start right here. I think right here I'm going to start around the cyan concrete. So I am just going to go around here and just place blocks on top of every parts of the branch except for the bottom of the branch. And then it's going to start transitioning up to that wool right there. Make a bit of leaves right there. And then for that to not look as incredibly eye-soaring, we can put some concrete on the leaves down here, and then definitely some concrete right here where it's transitioning up. I will say doing a gradient is probably the most strategical thing you'll have to do while building a tree. In the leaves, if you're doing a gradient, and this only applies if you're doing a gradient, you have to be careful with how you place your blocks in certain places, or else it might end up looking weird. If you're doing without glass, if you're doing glass over the thing when you're done, you can be a little more flexible with how you do your gradients, because glass kind of hazes over it and covers up any mistakes that you do with a gradient. But tips for applying a gradient on something like this with complicated shapes and blobs: don't do horizontal straight lines. Try and get it as randomized as you can. Obviously the lighter color should go lesser in amounts as you're going down, and the darker color should go lesser in amounts as you go up. I don't really know how perfectly to describe. I'm sure there's a lot of different videos out there that can teach you thoroughly how to do gradients, but if you just inspect the video on slow-mo, I'm sure you will get the hang of it and teach yourself how to do a gradient. It's honestly pretty easy after you do it a couple of times. But if you're not doing a gradient in a solid color, then that doesn't exactly apply. But just placing the leaves should be okay either way. Okay, I have pretty much covered all of the branches that I could see. I didn't get to use all of the blocks that I wanted to use, and honestly, we could shape up the tree a lot more. It is looking pretty good so far. It looks like a tree, I think. Of course, it does need some smoothing out, like the branches could, like, the leaves could be a little bit more smooth. I also want to keep on, because I've only gotten to the wool part. I still have stripped wood and the prismarine bricks to use, so I think I might just be doing some bunching up the leaves up here and just making a lot of spam right here, some block spam, to try and fill up the top here, make it dome shape. So then at the bottom I can use some wool to transition it in certain places, such as this. Fill in some awkward holes that I don't like. So I am pretty much finished block blobbing all around for the leaves. This is the base leaves. I know it kind of looks a little messy right now, but we're actually going to be defining this. A layer of glass over the leaves. Now, what I'm going to do is a dark blue over the prismarine and warped wood mainly, and then a cyan tint over the concrete and the wool, and then light blue over the stripped warped wood and the light prismarine blocks. So, how I'm going to do this is actually, we start from bottom to top from the leaves. Let's actually work with the light blue first on the top and then work our way down. So what I'm gonna do is just put just a little layer of glass over every block I see on the top here. I can maybe like kind of vary it a little bit. I can go multiple layers if I wanted to, but this is mainly how I get like the tint of blue. Here I can show you guys what I mean by a layer of glass. So for my amethyst tree, I did mostly amethyst. Like I kind of spammed amethyst inside with some wool around. I didn't do a tint for this tree, but I did do amethyst and wool and light magenta wool. And then you could see that I did a layer of glass, of purple glass, magenta glass, and I even did glass panes, which we might do on this tree, and glass panes in corners and such to make it just an even more detail. I even put some candles up here for extra effect. But yeah, that is what I mean by putting a layer of glass. Oh, that tree looks awesome. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep on spamming a bunch of glass blocks over the stuff that I have done so far. And then once I'm about, I'd say about here, I'm gonna start kind of transitioning into some cyan blocks. And then I can also keep on replacing cyan blocks with light blue blocks down here to kind of get that transition effect, just kind of randomizing the blocks a little bit. And not every single block of the leaves, like the concrete and the wool and the wood, that does not all need to be, like, it's okay if little holes are seen. But you don't even need to do the glass. If you like how your leaves look without the glass, by all means, do not put a layer of glass on your trees. It's fine, and also is kind of expensive with sand and everything if you're doing this in survival. But if you want to, then you can do a little bit. I suggest leaving a couple holes here and there, maybe holes for some glass panes later, which won't cover it all up. See, I'm just kind of spamming a bunch of glass. If you're in shaders like me, it might be a little easier to do it in no shaders, because glass tends to be a little hard to see when you're using shaders. And I definitely cover up a bunch of mass holes, such as like right here with the glass. I mean, they're still noticeably seen without the glass, but I still cover them up just to get that kind of hazy effect within the tree. Okay, now I did mostly cyan glass around. Now I'm gonna just take the light blue glass, break some of the cyan glass, and just casually put in some light blue glass. Like this layer up here is a bit tall, so I can put some light blue glass. I really do not think about where I'm putting glass at all around here. You can choose to have it stylized in any way you want, or like try and figure out how you want to position the glass for your type of trees. But for me, I don't really want to think about every single glass block that I'm placing right here, because that would drive me insane. But if you want to see stuff like that, if you want to see it more organized, then by all means, organize your trees. This glass technique is really only it really only looks good when you have some sort of connecting texture packs, such as continuity, I always say continuity, Optifine, just anything that connects glass. I think I have continu continuity on. Yeah, I do. I have continuity, um, connecting glass textures, and I also have glass pane culling fix that helps with some bugs with the glass panes. But Optifine works. If you're on Fabric, continuity works. And I think there's like couple mods on Forge that would work. It's really easy to install, so I recommend looking that up if you want your glass to connect. I mean, it would still look okay to an extent, but it's gonna end up looking very gritty and not that good if you don't have connecting glass. See, I'm kind of filling up any holes that go inside the tree. You could still see inside the tree and the branches, but I'm filling up the holes to have that blue haze over it. Okay, now that I use the cyan, I think I'm gonna use some blue stained glass for the bottommost branches, such as this. Now, it's gonna be kind of hard to transition this harsh blue into the cyan. That's why I'm gonna end up going and breaking some of this glass and then just keep on putting random speckles of blue everywhere. And at the ends of these, I'm actually gonna do a bunch of overhanging glass bits, like making lines of the blue glass come down, so the leaves look more like they're hanging off the branches like a willow tree, because I really like the willow tree effects. You don't have to do that, but I just like how it kind of hangs. And we also do some glass panes in the future to put underneath this tree to make it even more little hanging bits that look very magical and very, very fine details that look just adds a lot of more essence to the tree. This is looking so cool for so far. It really looks like painterly. Looks like the tree has just been painted with different colors, and it looks so cool. Using glass as an art form in Minecraft is just such a powerful technique, and you can make these vibrant colors that you haven't even seen before. And it just looks so cool. I'm so happy with this. Even at the top, it's just like looks so cool. I really like it so far. Now it's time to add some more details. I think I'm pretty much done with the leaves. I guess we could slather some panes on it if you really want. You do not have to do this. Honestly, I don't even want to do this, but just as an added effect, I will add some panes and some extra candles, maybe even some white candles. Not light the candles, but if you add some panes, These can also be very easy to cover up some little spaces and help with the transition of the colors. So if you use light blue stained glass, and if you go to the bottom and add it to, like, let's say the blue parts here, that will make it seem more like the color is transitioning in a smoother gradient. And since panes are a lot smaller than full blocks, it's easy to hide them a little more. And if we just go like add panes on the dark blue, cyan paints on the dark blue, it makes it look just so much easier. There's no technique to this, guys. All you have to do is just spam it and it should look good. They also look really well as loose leaves that are kind of just flowing in the wind, and it just makes it look a lot more 3D. I'm adding some very few dark blue ones at the top here where the light blue is to make it a little darker. Just very few ones. Oh, that's so good. So nice. What happens if I just add a few light blue paints where the dark blue is located? Like, there's a spot there that I could hide. You can hide the little holes that you have that you didn't quite complete. Just making more little textures. Especially corners. When it's hidden in a corner, that makes it just look like the corner is more smoothed out, because it has that little dent in there. Such a nice way of just adding little minor details. Okay, I want to see what this looks like in daytime. Set time day. Oh, that's so good! That is so cool! What does shaders look like? Wow. It literally just looks like a Van Gogh tree. That's so cool. Okay, now to add some lighting to it, some finesse. I forgot to add the candles. Dang it! Even if you want even little more little leaves and textures around the leaves, add some candles. Candles are a great way if you have like a wax farm on some bee nests. Add a little bit of candles. These things are awesome. And on green trees, you can use pickles, pull a pearlescent moon. She had a genius idea of putting pickles on her custom trees. That was amazing. I love that idea. If this was a green tree, I'd totally put just pickles and green candles. That's a good idea. You could put banners on the bottom of your trees to make flowing leaves. Here, I'll show you. So we did cyan and light blue banners. We could put some light blue up here and here. You don't want too many of these because these do count as entities in the world, and if you are on a server or anything, let's not cause server lag. But if you do add just a few in random little spots, I don't know if I like it there. Might get rid of it there. There. It could really add some essence to your trees. Like off to the sides, it could help, and definitely at the ends of it. Such as this and this. Really makes it just flow more and give more movement to the tree. The key of making things look alive in Minecraft is movement. If you can add particles, moving effects, it just makes it look so much more alive. The banners are very solid though, so it could cause a distraction within detail, so you do not want to go. Honestly, I think I might have gone a little too overboard with them. So one of the key things about the magical trees is lighting. Now, if you can't run shaders like me, obviously the lighting is going to be toned down a bit, but especially with the soul lanterns and torches, these are really powerful for the blue tree builds. This specific blue tree, since they're blue, and if you just hide them a little bit, in the leaves, like behind the glass, they give just this tiny blue glow that you might not see firsthand, but when you really start to inspect this tree, it really just gives off that nice little spark of light, gives movement with the flames. It's just such a nice detail. And I also put some around the stem that adds just a little bit more movement. The stem has a little bit spots. And then I also really like to add end rods, but how I like to add end rods is with the glass panes, actually. So I like to make glass panes go down a couple blocks, and then at the ends of them, I like to add end rods. Now, for this specific blue tree, I'm actually going to be adding every so often soul lanterns at the end of the glass panes. Actually, to add even more detail, I'm actually gonna change this glass pane into a dark blue and transition it to a cyan. And then at the bottom, a soul lantern. So it kind of looks like just the soul lanterns are growing out of the tree, and it makes it super magical. And also the end rods. The end rods are very powerful for making a tree look magical. Like this. If you have little bits of end rods, it adds particles, it adds the movement key into your tree, and it just makes it look so powerful, especially when the trunk is white. So I'm going to be overusing end rods for the yellow build, since there's white in the yellow build. But for this, I'm not going to use too much end rods. I'm going to mainly use the lanterns, maybe even sea lanterns. I didn't want to use sea lanterns because it kind of looks out of place. But it could look, well, maybe the sea lanterns could look better within the tree. Like, they're hidden behind the leaves a little bit. Does that look good? Let me do some experimenting. So I think I added one within there. Oh, ooh, it makes the tree glow. Oh, that's so smart. Okay, so if you want your tree to glow at night with the glass, just put some lighting inside and it'll glow. Like, they're not noticeable unless you fly around the tree. But if you have a layer of glass, just put some lighting within the tree and it'll make it glow at nighttime. Oh, that's so cool. It's glowing. And then we can add some panes at the bottom and then add some glow lanterns. This is gonna look awesome. Lighting plus movement gives so much detail to your builds. I cannot stress that enough. So I'm not putting these hanging lanterns on like every single block around the edge of the tree. I'm just doing every like 3 to 4 blocks around the radius of the tree, and then I'm gonna go inside the tree and do a couple that's kind of higher than the lowest one down here. So I'm just going around the edge of the tree and then putting hanging lanterns and hanging end rods, the glass panes, and I also variate in height and length of the glass panes of the hanging bits, because the more it's randomized, the more it looks like they're grown instead of put there. Like, if I did these 3 the same height, it would look not as good as how they are right now. I think at the base of the tree right here could look interesting if you put maybe a lot of hanging bits of the glass. And just kind of filling up some holes in here with some bits of glass to make it look like the leaves are kind of still inside the tree underneath of it. Maybe hiding a little bit of the stone branches. now it's time for the finishing touches on the bottom, where I'm gonna kind of go a little bit random. Put some leaves on the ground, which I kind of get rid of the block on. Okay, there's actually a cave down there. Let's fill that up. There's actually just missing blocks on the ground, and then I replace them with some of the leaves from the tree. And then I also do this with some carpets too, just putting random bits of carpets all around the tree, and then a lot more carpets the closer they are to the trunk, because they all collect around the trunk mostly, and then they span out and blow around the place when there's wind. Just kind of go by what you think would look really pretty. It's your build, not mine. This is why this isn't a direct tutorial. I'm not telling you how to place a block by block thing, because I don't really like direct tutorials. I like when I'm able to take creative liberty in what I build, but I'm also inspired by what I'm trying to build, and I want you guys to take as much inspiration from this as you can. Just take in as much as ideas as you can think of, but try not to build this block by block, not because I want credit or anything, because I want you guys to also be creative with it and come up with some things that you should do on your own, and come up with your own imaginative aspects towards the tree. These things are gonna grow really quick. Yeah, I have like 1,000 tick speed on the world that I'm on right now, so I'm gonna take some shears and pluck the vines a little bit so they don't get too high. So like right about there for that one. Okay, I want some lights in the bottom of these, so I'm gonna take there's some soul lanterns and some sea lanterns, and then I'm actually gonna put a sea lantern right there, put some glass over it, and then maybe a sea lantern right there, and get the blue glass again. Hide these sea lanterns all over the place. If you put a sea lantern or a lantern right there, and you put a carpet over it, it still has a little bit of light source underneath of it. That is probably everything that we could possibly put. Wow, that is honestly so cool. Well, I think we did a pretty good job. I hope you find some inspiration from this. I really went all out trying to make this tree look, not a tree, but also a tree at the same time, because it's a magical tree, but it is a tree. So I will be doing 2 more videos with the red and the yellow variants of the tree, the red being a very dark and evil tree, and the yellow being a very light, very kind of heaven looking tree. And they will vary in size. So I hope you join me back. Subscribe if you want to see those videos. They'll be out soon, hopefully. I still have to record and edit those. But yeah, thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me. Leave a like or suggest any more different videos you want to see on Dream Designs. And yeah, you guys have a nice day. Thank you. Bye.